so much, sir. Thank you so much and for the invite. And I'm really extremely honored and pleased to be here to be sharing my thoughts with everyone. And I think I will straight away uh, go to my presentation. May I have the okay.
You're already a co-host, ma'am.
Okay. I'll just share in that case. Okay, so I'll start with my presentation. And yeah, so I will be, I think the I mean the presentation which happened just before was also was a very important presentation. We have another sector, which is the building sector, which is also another where bamboo has been used from time immemorial for a very long time. And it's a traditional material. So I will, which was mainstream at one time, but thanks to all the colonization and other things that happened in between, bamboo was called the poor man's timber, and then it really was delegated as a you can say non-essential building material for the main building sector. And so today I will be speaking about how and why we should be actually bringing back this particular material in our uh, building sector and why it is really required. This was last year, and 2020 in the beginning. I mean, these are the events which happened across the world, but there was no reaction from many people because somebody thought that okay, that's happening in Australia. Other things, oh, Amazon in South America or somewhere in Brazil. If anything is happening anywhere, we are not really affected. So there was, except for something which you hear in the news, nobody really cared about. And then we had this happening and across the world, and this became like a switch. I'm just hoping that it became like a switch, because now we are sort of slightly coming back to the normal after almost after close to less than a few months, less than 2 years. I think December 2019, the first time this virus was, I think, detected, and it happened, and brought the whole world to a complete halt. And the whole world came together to fight this particular small, tiny virus. And this became a switch, and then people started talking. And as I said, I still hope that people understand that the connection between what happened, and why COVID happened, to what we are doing actually in our everyday lives. And that is something where that's the context that I'm talking about. And it has been used in construction, as I said, in from time immemorial. And even today, 1/5 of the world population lives in bamboo houses, though they don't live in them with a lot of happiness, but more out of compulsion. And because of that, most of the traditional knowledge of construction with bamboo has got lost. Now, all this global warming and other things, I think we have been hearing about it, all across the world, and how to mitigate them. And in that particular context, people have been looking for a lot of local eco-friendly materials and solutions to mitigate global warming. And bamboo and mud, they are two materials in the building sector which has come as one of the most promising and viable material for the building sector, as per the research and as per whatever, I mean, data that we have as on today. But still, after that, a lot of institutions have taken up things, but most of the research as a building material still remains in the lab and does not reach the field. The institutions and organizations actually generally hardly have any interface with the building fraternity, and a lot of civil societies like Bamboo Society of India and many other societies, they are trying to bring change, but they are plagued with severe dearth of human and financial resources. So how do we really go forward? This is another, there are two, data or graphs that images that I would like to share. If you see the population density on the left and the bamboo resources across the world on the right. And if you try to compare, we have more population along the tropics and the subtropics and subtemperate zone. And that's where maximum population lives. And hence that's where most of the housing is required, or to house these people. Safe, economical and eco-friendly buildings and infrastructure. These are the things that are required for these people in these same areas. To top it all, most of the disasters also happen in the same belt. So there is a direct connection between where bamboo is available and where there is population, housing required, and these disaster management and disaster prone belt. So this is something which is very, very, nature has given this in a very as a solution, which probably we have, as we all know, have been simply forgetting about it. But now when we are coming to it, it could be the vehicle of integrated development for millions. And that I'm not talking about only housing or building. I'm also talking about integrated development, which could be economy, industry, and all other things for millions below the poverty line, thereby being an agent of equity of resources to the masses on this planet. And to this, I would like to also briefly go to the 17 SDG goals and how the bamboo actually can, work on this. Affordable and clean energy, you can get energy from bamboo. I think you had many sessions on that. Decent work and economic growth, because this is a people's material. And so the livelihood options from bamboo sector will ensure a very inclusive economic growth and productive and decent work and life, say, to a big section of the society. The industry, innovation, and infrastructure. The majority of manufacturing is a major source of employment, and so the country had less manufacturing value-based per capita, which actually, again, with high value bamboo-based industries, we could change this scenario. It could also reduce inequalities, because bamboo-based economy could be a solution to reduce this gap. Along with the country's human development index going up, we can make sustainable cities and communities the target for 2030 to ensure safe and affordable housing and buildings for everyone. And construction with bamboo with other local and eco-friendly materials could provide these localized solutions. We have responsible consumption and production, which is a local material, it's eco-friendly material. So we can have many other such methods and waste management that will help achieve this goal. All these things also are directly connected to climate action. Economic development and climate are inextricably linked, and hence effort to do this. It also have, all this negative impact on the environment can also be brought down. Life on land, it can also bamboo-based products like ply, boards, charcoal, and many other. It's also as a resource-friendly material, because bamboo is available in most of these areas. And when you have economic development and when you have social equity, you will also have peace and justice and strong institutions. And very important, the partnership for the goals. Countries and organizations can cooperate together instead of competing. We can have developed multi-stakeholder partnerships that involve civil societies to share knowledge and expertise and technology and financial support, is critical to the overall action plan. And for this all, we need several organizations and institutions and professional bodies which work in close collaboration and working in a mission mode to identify the challenges both at the global and regional level and develop a set of implementable action plans with timelines and resources and identifying and stakeholders. We did a research on this actually in 2018, and I will be briefly presenting that before presenting my works, which we did it, and that got titled Mainstreaming Bamboo in the Construction Sector from Mansaram Architects and CGBMT, World Bamboo Organization. Arc Daily was our, media partners. These are the efforts that we have been doing, with various things. I will not go too much in detail. And I just to mention that we have been working in bamboo at least almost for about 23 years now. And before that, Mansaram Architects actually started in 1991. And so, it is almost like, so many years from where 30 years when since we have been using bamboo extensively, other eco-friendly materials and bamboo for around 23 years. CGBMT we started in 2004 to develop all the sectors, and we have been running several courses through that. And these two organizations together, we have been trying to do a lot of things. This is a global survey. How we had formulated was to cover all the building sector and building professionals, not just architects, but also engineers and people who are in execution. And there were 15 questions were given to them. And this is how we, and these are the results. Very briefly, I will actually share the results with you here. There were responses from more than 30, so many countries. Asia contributed to around 61% of the response. Just a moment. I will just, yeah, okay. And even though bamboo is not native from Europe, the continent showed a significant interest in the subject with around 20% of the reply. And most of the younger people, the younger generation, the millennials were interested in this, and they actually took the survey. The country of graduation and the country of practice as they were practicing. This was the breakup, as you can see here. And we had the questionnaire, during graduation, how bamboo was approached and how do you use the materials as a structural element. These were various pointers that we tried to take into consideration. How to use bamboo in your projects for application finishes or furnitures. How well accepted by the clients do you consider these materials will be, in which we took it as reinforced concrete and wood, masonry and stone and bamboo together. And then we have from not available to very much available. We also took this, how do you consider bamboo, where do you work? So these are several questions, how expensive do you think bamboo is in comparison? Is a question which keep propping up when we are actually working with bamboo. And how is the situation when it comes to skill? Because skilling is to develop a sector, you also need skill in the sector and acceptance of the these things, professionals regarding bamboo. We also took about in the country of practice about legislation and bamboo as a construction material and regulations. We talked also about lack of regulation. Is that in discouragement, or if there were more regulation, people would use it more. And also about information, how easy it is for them to find the information, and how good do you think consider that was the professionals' idea about bamboo. Then we had material limitations like large span solutions, water repellent, fire repellent, jointing systems, splitting behavior, and bamboo software means connected to bamboo design. That's what we took in that. And then in the academia and our research and development. And then regarding legal, financial, and policies, how effective do you think that they are into for implementation? About social, like advocacy and how to mainstream bamboo, what is there in mind for the ease of implementation, and then execution of these projects and things. What are the solutions like multi-purpose bamboo kits? Whether do you think that will be here, enable field testing, skill development programs? What is supposed to be done to do this? And these were the very summary of the survey. And the end, when we got it, most of the architects and designers wanted to use bamboo, but find themselves handicapped and due to several issues like academics, availability, and execution. And very few, professionals cited the eco-friendly properties of bamboo for choosing it, which means they are not aware. And most of the inquired thought bamboo could be bought at the certain prices if quality is assured. So everyone wants quality material available easily. Most architects prefer to get off-the-shelf bamboo products and components for ready usage in their product, because everyone does not have the time to go through the whole process. And most professionals think bamboo cannot be used for large multi-story buildings and complex structures and skyscrapers, all these long span bridges. They think it can be used only for small temporary types of structure and resort cottages. This is a very, very, it's like a red flag which needs to be really taken, also, cognition. No architect talked about bamboo as replacement of steel, because I think people don't know much about it, whether they can do it, or replacing wooden furniture, flooring, door, windows, etc. And support of government policies was mentioned by many for building bylaws and FIR. That's SR, schedule of rates and building codes. I think people did not know that it even existed. So that was the basic scenario in a summary. And here are some of the actions that were taken that were in the 16th question that we had given. What do you think should be done? So they definitely talked about government policies, redefining government housing strategy, including bamboo in the building code, and the bamboo buildings is important. And it is crucial actually to reach the higher bodies of government, and sensitize them about the importance of bamboo to change the laws. Directives that come from the top of the hierarchy usually have a bigger impact. Then advocacy, they said, creating awareness among the public, designers, policymakers, and artisans, etc. But the possibility of bamboo will increase its acceptability throughout all professional sectors and social strata. And showcasing bamboo in key locations by prominent architects will have a big impact. As per the survey, in the academics, including bamboo in architecture, civil engineering, other related building science degrees is very important. And this is important for countries, especially where bamboo is a native species. I mean, it's a native plant, you can say. We have research of development. We have to research and development. There's many years of research is there, but the data is not usable. So make data usable, develop engineered bamboo and composites, bamboo specific software for architects and engineers. And this will allow bamboo to reach new types and scales of buildings. And also industry specific research to solve issues would go a long way to achieve the target. What actually is happening, people fancy a particular subject for research and they work on that many times, and many times this is not related to the market at all. And because of that, the research and the research, once the research is done, it generally goes into the files and into the reports, which never reaches the public. This is something which is very important to be disseminated also in a proper manner, one. And the second one would be to take what the society needs as on today to take it forward, and those kind of research actually should be done. We have skill development, which is again, any industry to flourish, we need skilling. And skilling is something where is a complete lack of people, sources and things like that, and organizations which are doing skill development, providing laborers, supervisors, as well as architects and engineers with knowledge and practical skills to work with bamboo will spread its use. So we can have education institutions, foundations, and NGOs, and have a very important role to play here. Marketing, proving bamboo as an affordable material and advertising it in mass media by including public figures and celebrities will be effective to spread the use of bamboo. This is something, again, we have big movie stars and all these kind of people who will do anything, sell anything. So we also have to see that bamboo is also, we use the strategy to in a proper manner, ethical manner, to take it forward. It should be promoted also as a technically sound, eco-friendly, and aesthetically pleasing material rather than affordable and cheap material. This is another very important thing, because everyone, I think 90% of my clients who come to me come because they think that bamboo buildings or bamboo in buildings can be cheaper to use rather than actually for eco-friendly solutions. So that is something which has to be told to them, that bamboo is technically as sound and eco-friendly and aesthetically pleasing as any other building material. It's only then we will actually, once we market it like that, then only the bamboo will be able to be mainstreamed in the building sector. And of course, the industry development has to happen. We have to ensure the quality and ease of access of bamboo by the building professionals, and have an agro-based employment scheme and create an organized supply chain with better coordination between agencies. And they are absolutely indispensable to serve the construction sector, including standardization. Certification of bamboo is required for confident utilization by professionals and clients. In Europe, etc., value-added products like ply boards and flooring, etc., are more in demand rather than bamboo poles for construction. But I would say that in our country, because once you have that value addition and bamboo ply, that becomes even expensive one. You also have to have doing processing, which also again requires energy and all other things. So in countries like us, and where we are talking about the masses, even the round bamboo has to be processed in a manner that round bamboo can be used in a proper manner by the general public, and also by I would not talk only architects and engineers, because just for your knowledge, architects across the world only cater to about 8% of the population across the world. 92% people build by themselves. We also have to look at that sector as to how to really approach them. Now, housing bamboo is a strong and versatile material with multiple uses that can be used in different parts of the building and structures. And I think these qualities already have been spoken several times. It's lightweight and flexibility. And it can be very successful in housing projects, both high rises and horizontal, much in need in developing countries. At the same time, it has to be encouraged to be used for schools, public buildings, resorts, hotels, and even infrastructure. Just a word of this thing here. What I just wanted to, I think I will. Yes, some of this bamboo-based technology can be covered under several ministries in various countries. And here some of the, I just, because this was part of the research, so we have done it, where all we can approach on a global level. The UN has Department of Economic, and so there's so many departments that are there. I will not go in detail, I'm sure. And the comprehensive action table that we had made based on the research as to at global, national, and state level, what we should be doing for legal and policies and advocacy and marketing, industry development, housing and infrastructure, academics, all these kind of things. So this is a more action table which we had developed together, thinking that and based on that we have been actually we were already doing it for a long time, but we wanted to compile it properly together to bring it. And this particular research is actually in the public domain, so it can be accessed by anybody. I can share it on the Bamboo Society of India. I can send it to the Bamboo Society of India headquarters and to put it in the website, or also on the groups that we have for everyone's this thing as to how to go forward. With this, I will just try to tell you now how I have been working and what I am trying to do for mainstreaming bamboo, because after the first project that was given to me, I have been doing this from day one. And I would really like to, again, show my gratitude to two people, Mr. Arun Kumar Bansal, of IFS. He was the director of IPIRTI, Indian Plywood Industry Research Training and Research Institute. And Mr. N.C. Shailam, he was the MD of the Mahatma Gandhi Rajiv Gandhi Rural Housing Corporation at the time. And I got the project from him, and then I worked with IPRITI, and that is my alma mater, I would say, where bamboo is concerned. Has changed after touching bamboo. It has really taught me a lot. And one thing it taught me also was building with bamboo is a life-changing experience, but it also should be for simple living.
Neelam ma'am, are you there? Hello?
We have the bamboo roofing sheets, bamboo corrugated roofing sheets. We have the bamboo BMB board. All the kind of technology that IPRITI had developed, we have actually put in here. And then we were called for for the second project. It was actually, we were called for a closed competition with I think 4 or 5 architects had been called for a 2 BHK house at the IPRITI campus. This is still there at the campus. And this was to be developed in a way that anybody in the city can think on and relate themselves to build a house with bamboo in an urban setting. And I would say rather that this experiment has been very successful that way, because we have had lots of visitors and lots of architects. And this we finished in 2002. 2002, I think it was finished. And it is still there. They run a club in this particular sector and a particular building. You can visit it anytime. Around the same time, I was contacted by a person, a Roman person, Mr. Lunardi, from Rome, and he wanted a prefab house to be done in Rome for them. This is a prefab house we did, and this was in 2004, I think March or April. This was executed by them, completely prefabricated here in Bangalore and sent to them in a container and shipped to them. And this is how the other parts of the building you can see here also very different, because if I go in detail, this will be a really long presentation. Every house and every building that I did I keep changing my building systems, the structural system, because whenever I was confronted with a client, they would have a lot of doubts. They would have a lot of these things as to why I should be using bamboo. And I thought that, once I start, making a database, or we have these kind of buildings, then people will be not asking the same question to the people behind me, and they will have their life much easier when they want to build with bamboo. So here you can say even modular, even the railing is modular here. Everything, I mean, the windows and everything is modular, and everything is was from here. These are the photographs. And the same around 2004, we also had the great tsunami which happened. This is a prototype that we developed with Seeds India for them. And the best part of this project was that we didn't build it for them. We trained them, and we were there only for 2-3 times, for 2 days or 3 days. And this was completely built by the people from Little Andamans. What actually happens, and in most of these disaster areas, disaster events, a lot of international funds come, but so people actually get very easy funds. Whoever had a cycle will get onto a motorcycle. Crime rate increases in that case. So if we don't attach livelihood security with the rehabilitation of the people, this could actually not lead to a very different kind of problem later. So we try to do that so that the people there actually can also get into a livelihood sector of building these bamboo based housing out there, and to take it forward. But thanks to the contractors lobby, we could not get past the planning commission somehow. So it could not really be built to the scale that we had actually wanted. There's another vocabulary, and for MNC in 2005 for Randall Engineering. This is on Queens Road. This is a cafeteria. They wanted it to be enclosed, and we were invited for the Inside Outside Mega Show in 2006. So this is something which it was more on the interiors and how the products and everything can be made out of bamboo. And as you can see, we had a lot of visitors. Actually, it was in Palace Grounds in Bangalore, and we had a lot of visitors. On the same time, that was the Tehelka thing that had happened. This was, we were doing one state level energy park. I was doing, and I was told to make a small house where I can show the use of renewable energy, there. And so I requested the MD to allow me to use a low energy material, which was bamboo. So this solar hut, what you see on the right top, is actually completely again made of various kinds of bamboo wall and roofing and everything. And the whole campus also, which is actually we have right now a different musical fountain, Indira Gandhi Musical Fountain Park. That was the place for this. And we did rainwater harvesting, we did everything else, and along with that we made this. And this was the interior. If you can see here, you have a study table, you have chairs, you have dining table, chairs, everything, sofas, even chandeliers, and everything made from bamboo that was showcased there. Unfortunately, 2.5 years ago, this has been taken down by the government, thinking that this is a non-permanent building for a more permanent structure out there. I think so. This is very unfortunate. We got a national award for this, from HUDCO. We have some more components of that, and I kept on changing my different structural systems. Every gazebo was a different kind of a structure system, which I tried to experiment with and use it out there. Around in 2004, there was a World Bamboo Congress that happened in New Delhi, and we participated there, and I presented my paper. And then Delhi Development Authority, they approached us with Biodiversity Foundation and University of Delhi to do, they were doing a biodiversity park in 500 acres out there, and they wanted a bridge made with bamboo and some other structures like the common toilet and some gazebos. So this is a building, and a bridge we made. This is 50 feet wide, and you can see the biodiverse situation that is there. And this is still existing, slightly tilted and all. It is still existing, and one can still walk over this. They have asked us for repairs. We still have to do it. This was the gazebo, and this was the toilet. The toilet is still in use in a very good condition. I mean, it will go on for another 20 years easily. In 2006, we participated in a competition, and this was the first time I started using shells, bamboo for shells, because bamboo is a very lightweight material, and when we weave it, we can weave it into a very different kind of geometry and to span very large buildings. Because when we try to do with round bamboo poles, we can't span very large distances or large span buildings. So I was looking for solution as to how to do that. When we put in this competition, we actually were runners up in this particular competition, but this project was actually taken off, and it has not been, it is not there. These are some of the more photographs, very large. All the facilities that I designed there was with different kind of shells, like convention center, reception, pantry. There was a marriage hall also supposed to be there, and auditorium, amphitheater. This is a bamboo museum we did in 2006 in Palampur, and I think this is the only bamboo museum as on the date today in India. This is and this was again a combination of round bamboo along with bamboo ply and bamboo sheets, etc. You can see it have given a completely different kind of interiors. It can give. It's a very glowing golden interiors for the thing. In 2008, I started building my own house, and lots of experiments with bamboo and mud together. I combine bamboo and mud together because in most of the part of the country, except for the Northeast and Kerala, probably in some parts, we can't live in all bamboo houses. And traditionally also bamboo is always clubbed with any material for that matter, is clubbed with other materials. So another natural material, as I had told, that mud is another material which is a very good material to take it forward. So in this one, I combine it in various ways. And from that time, all my architectural vocabulary has been with four main materials, which is stone, mud, bamboo, and waste. And out of these, three are generated by nature, and the fourth is generated by man in a plenty. We all know that. So this way you see this, one of the main features of this particular house was also the crowning feature, I would rather say, is the 4,000 square feet shell double curve roof that you see here on the top, which actually spans around 175 feet long and around 30 feet across. This house is made with mud. I wanted to elevate mud and bamboo and stone to a very different level through design. As you can see in this one, in the bottom photograph, from the front to the back, it is around 175 feet long, and the kind of even pergolas has been made with bamboo. The whole house, the roof on the top that I was talking, is the shell that you have here. These are various other applications of bamboo. You can see there's a bridge out there, very slim bridge, takes a weight of more than 100 kgs actually. That's the power of bamboo. These are the way the structures have been built, and I could not get a single structural engineer, so the whole structure has been designed by myself. Bamboo flooring, bamboo crete walls, all in combination with various kinds of materials to give a very contemporary urban look. So bamboo and mud, all walls are made of mud, even the roof is mud. So they can be elevated to a way, if you design in a good manner, you can actually elevate, and this will attract many more people to use bamboo in their buildings. As you can see, the whole building, you don't even feel that you have anything amiss from any kind of contemporary building today. So another house, again, I don't have many photographs of this, same materials in the same campus, is the Earth House, and with bamboo roofing sheets and things. And from all the debris that I had and leftovers from my house, that was House of 5 Elements, I built my office, Bamboo Symphony, in 2010. Lot of experiments again. In the house, the bamboo was below the slab. In this one, bamboo is in the slab, and also in the concrete in the slab. So this was another experiment again that we have done, and this is, you can see the kind of free form roof that we have here, and very lightly sitting on this elegant bamboo columns, and very absolutely single beam that takes the whole load. Amazing, the way bamboo can take. Even I have been surprising myself, because I always think that bamboo will do this, and bamboo does at least 10 times more than what I suppose it to be doing. And that has been a matter of delight for me all the way. You can see the way bamboo can actually deal with different kinds of forms. And what you see here is not an interior. All these are structural bamboo columns, and all single columns, not very heavy columns. And this actually is based on the fishing platform technique as to how they use bamboo in the fishing platform. A single bamboo pole takes so much of heavy load, tons of load of fish when it is fished. These are some of the more, you can see the spans, more than 15 feet clear spans in the slab in the free form. This is until date, this particular building, I probably have got the maximum awards for this, maximum in national, international awards for this particular project. And to date, I think this is one of my best creations. Another project, Mr. Sushalam here was very, great, this thing to give it to me. He had a lot of confidence in me. In 2013, he was the MD of Bangalore Metro Rail Corporation Limited. He invited me to design a metro station with bamboo, and I have given three options in that. Just excuse me, called DEI. Called DEI. Yeah, I'm sorry. I have a call from another site on bamboo where the construction is going on. So this is this was completely again another shell, a different way the shell structure can be actually built. This particular one, and this the BMCRL has got this logo of the Rangoli, and I have used that particular form for the form of the station here. Bamboo flooring. I had a discussion with the engineers, and they said that the polished granite flooring actually slips when people are rushing from one station to another or running because they are in a hurry. They slip most of the time, and it's not a good material. So we thought of bamboo. We proposed bamboo as a rough, not completely smooth polished, but rough bamboo, flooring as a material for that purpose. And then again, instead of ply, we used all this bamboo ply and bamboo cladding. These are the other two options for the same three. And unfortunately, this is still under process because he was very confident, but probably the engineers were not. Even the chief engineer was also very confident that we can do it. But due to fire audit, they kept on asking, and I tried getting them as much data as possible. But somehow they are still not convinced. And we hope that someday I will be able to, and we all will be able to build something this scale with bamboo, there. But incidentally, in 2017, I was contacted by SOM from New York. There is an architecture firm, one of the top 10 architecture firm in the world. And they contacted me through the World Bamboo Organization, asking me for information on Indian bamboo, specifically for a transportation project in Bangalore. And they wanted all about fire, all about availability and the span and the structure and all the material properties. And 3 months we exchanged mails, and they sent me their drawings, and I provided them all the information. And then after that, they said, I have to now convince, I have got all the information. I will get back to you once I have convinced my clients. And if I have anything, I will get back to you. After that, I didn't hear from them at all. And then in 2018 in Beijing, in the BARC summit, I suddenly have these people, out there from Dassault, from USA, Dassault USA, telling us that they are doing terminal 2 of Bangalore International Airport with bamboo. And I was really surprised. I asked them, who is the architect? They said SOM. I said, oh, wow. So the Indian government does not believe an Indian architect about her or his capacity. If they are Indian and they are telling that, they are capable. But if the same capacity is transferred through another, organization from across the world, then it gets approved. and it's being built. It's almost about to be completed. And needless to say that it doesn't use bamboo for the structures. They are using it for cladding. They're using it for false ceiling, and that also they are not using round bamboo, because false ceiling, other things could have been done very easily with. They are using round bamboo of bamboo wood. So if you have a 250 or 10 feet bamboo, which is will be 250 rupees, and after after all this treatment and all these kind of things, what they are doing is it's 2,500 rupees, the same bamboo. And who pays for that? We, the people who are actually paying the taxes, and our money is going there, right? And I don't know how many people in India actually got any orders through this particular project of International Airport with bamboo at Bangalore. I mean, just to bring the facts, which I was talking about, the research that I did earlier, as to what are the blocks. It's not to criticize anybody. It's to find out exactly, honestly, what are the blocks and where we need to really work on to really take things forward. And these are some other. This is another competition for Budapest Hungarian House of Music that we did. So what I'm just trying to show you the kind of scale and the kind of variety that actually bamboo can take it easily. You don't always need to have very particular kind of a style of building, Bali building and all these kind of things. You don't need to stick to that. You really need to have your creative energy and your this thing to really see that very different kinds of projects and very different kinds of buildings use bamboo as a material, as another material in their palette, not all bamboo thing. There are some more projects. This is a project where where I'm using bamboo for most of the this not completely mud. It's a whole project is made with mud, and there is a lot of bamboo in this project as well with this thing. This is a project we got through tender for near Tirupati, Avilala Ecological Park in 2018, and the project has already started on the site. And this was supposed to be, if it is built, it would have been the largest 30,000 square feet convention center, single building under one roof, and 150 feet tall watchtower, and 101.7 kilometers skywalk with bamboo. And the project is going a little slow because of the elections when Babu Naidu lost the elections, and then after that we had the COVID, and I'm just hoping that the project will catch up faster. This is another project. This is again a live project of Metaslum in Bangalore, where a lot of different, we house the Slum Development Board, generally houses all these people from the service sector who has supposed to be at the fringes into this pigeonhole apartments of 300, 400 square feet. It's very difficult to even breathe and do anything, in those things. And these people they are used to living in a different manner. So this was one solution which we actually put for them, and we also put it for international competition, and we won a Rethinking the Future award for this project as well. And that our metro station also got another award in transportation category. This is how you have a core and you have the basic thing given, and after that we give training to these people, and they do the further development themselves, just like the Ashriya housing, incremental housing in the Ashriya scheme that we try to do. So one more project that we are doing at the Silparamam in Anantapuram, which again we got through the tender, and this is also a very prestigious and a very ambitious projects of ours. We have this rammed earth construction with bamboo and earth. So we try to analyze the traditional knowledge that they have, and then how to transform that into contemporary language. So this is a conference center. This is the resort at Silparamam. This was in 2019. We were invited for the World Bamboo Workshop. The 5 countries from across the world was invited, and our office, Mansaram Architects, was invited to do a pavilion there. And we have done this as because I've been really working on a lot of shell structures, which I feel is the future for bamboo. And on that, generally people put these flattened bamboo, sheets. Now, flattened bamboo sheets actually don't last more than 3 to 4 years, and so so it is very difficult actually in tropical climate and all this. It's very difficult for people to get, people who can replace those every 3 to 5 years. the life is very short, and because of that, it's a problem. So we have been trying to use, and this is a concrete cloth where we have used on a bamboo frame, and this was the that we have. This is our office. This is our and this is a product of 7 days of work, only 7 days in Imphal. This is a millet center project from agriculture department in Karnataka, and it's a retrofit project. They had asked us to completely demolish the whole building. We did a structure analysis and we said no, it will work. And we are using a whole bamboo grid in front of it for putting completely a green wall in front and other areas like this, as you can see. Very different kind of usage of, again, bamboo with along with in composite with other materials. And I think that's the way actually forward, where we can, when the moment we start using bamboo with other materials, we will have absolutely a different type of architecture and a building vocabulary, which can actually be taking bamboo forward in a very good manner. This is Pegasus Institute of Excellence. We just finished it in nick of time before the COVID. The circular hall for there are people who are in soft skill training, and so this is a circular hall that we did. The rectangular hall that we have done for them for training is the stage at the back, and the bamboo-crete wall at the bamboo-crete wall with mud at the back, what you see here. And that's another shell that we have done for the roof of a stage with an amphitheater. And this is the circular hall I was telling that that's the kind of structural system that it is using. We also have been, our pedagogical journey started with Dalbagh University, which is called Dalbagh Education Institute. It's a deemed university, and in 2003. And I thought that skilling is a very important part of taking bamboo forward. So I had approached the director of the university, and he told that without a proof of concept, we cannot put anything in the university. So we were asked to do a proof of concept. So this was a security shed on the top, that what you see was done in 2005 or 6. And they're still using it as a security center and is doing very well. And after that, we started, we have done many bamboo-based buildings also. The Dalbagh really is promoting bamboo and along with all other eco-friendly materials, well, bamboo also in a big way. We are doing it together with CGBMT, a bamboo application technology course. Since 2011, I've been running that for the last 10 years. There are several teaching programs, and the bottom what you see is their Amritsar guest house that we did. And the left one is a project again in the offing, which is their agriculture center, agriculture and bamboo center at the university campus in Agra. And this is Amritsar. This is also a university campus itself, where we have done this guest house. And you believe it or not, it's a 19 days work with 100 people working together, right from day one, when we touch the site to finishing to this level. So I was working with furnishing people, furniture people. I was working with solar people, all different kind of people. I was working with the community. All the flooring that you see here, they are mud flooring, and the walls are also with mud plaster, which are done by the community ladies actually. And you can see the bathroom, how very simply it has been actually made with some artisans from Madhya Pradesh. They have done that stand for the wash basin. Again, in Dalbagh University, they approached us to do a creche building for them, for children from 3 years to around 3 months to 3 years. And this is again with mud and bamboo and thatch that we have used here. And it was done with the Faculty of Architecture and the work department of Dalbagh and CGBMT and Mansaram Architects. Very small length of bamboos available in Agra, so we actually changed the roofing system. We don't try to bring bamboo from across the world or across the country generally to use it. We try to use as much as possible the local bamboo from the bamboo bazaar or bamboo market, and do the design accordingly. So the first investigation that we do is what is the bamboo available nearby, and that's how we actually go along with our design. So this is, as you can see, a pentagon. Pentagon could have a single bamboo, but each classroom is 2,000 square feet. So because of that, it was the span was more and the bamboo was not available. So we have done a very interesting, different system of the roof. As you can see, the lady from Madhya Pradesh, she is doing the plastering over the walls. This is another project we are doing with them right now, two conference halls for the Albagan Education Institute. The bottom one, which we call it Hall 2, is almost finishing. Everything is done. The Hall 1, we are doing the first trust testing at the moment. And I think another 6 months, we should be able to finish the project. The project has got actually extremely delayed due to COVID. Otherwise, it would have been finished by now. This is the Hall 2 under construction. This is also a February photograph. After that, we have done a lot of work in this, and all the flooring and everything is finished. I want to share the last two projects, which is one was done with RS School of Architecture, Denmark, and it also got a very prestigious nominated for a very prestigious President's Medal by Royal Institute of British Architects, and with the Care College in Trichy. And this project was from CGPMT, we have done a design and build workshop where students of both the colleges and CGPMT artisans and myself, we all work together on the software, on physical model, on the ground, and on doing the treatment and everything all simultaneously. And then the typology was developed, and based on that, this construction one. This was shortlisted for the FIBRA award last year in 2019, and also it got the Merit List award in 2017. Out of 1,000 projects, this was selected as one of the 5 projects to be awarded. But the problem is this project is not there anymore. What actually happened was that professors from the university, from Denmark, they probably they don't know how to work with bamboo. But I'm sorry I'm using it in a public platform. But they changed the support system of the particular of this building, and they made it much less than what I had what we had designed, and that made this project, this structure to sag. And because of that, within a year, it started sagging, and I think some time back it was the. And I did not know about it till I started asking them for photographs, current photographs, and then the director of the institute told me that it had to be decommissioned because of the thing started sagging. What I actually want to say is that we need really proper engineering people, supervisors, and all these kind of people, and also people who are aware what they are building with. You can't use bamboo like steel, and you can't use steel like bamboo. So bamboo has to be really respected for the properties that it has, and it has to be used and designed in that manner. We should not try to copy steel things in bamboo or something like that. And that's what actually promotes all the disaster. Another thing is the humility. We have to be humble with bamboo. We need to really listen to what bamboo properties and really work with it. Only then you can actually get experience. You can't do a one-off building. Suddenly I want to use bamboo and then I will use it. For structure, definitely you cannot use. For interiors, you can. But for use of bamboo in structure, you really need to have a lot of experience, and you can start small and then grow to a bigger thing. And that's something which is definitely recommended. This was another project of ours, which we did in Maihar in Madhya Pradesh. And very ambitious project again of mine. I did a shell with mud and bamboo both, with 7 cells put together, and at a very beautiful location in the place. This is and they have this. I got these artisans. There are 5 villages in that area in Madhya Pradesh where I got people from different villages, and they did not believe in bamboo. These people were actually they are outcast people in their villages. People don't drink the water if they come to the well. I got these kind of people, around 50 of them, and I trained them for about in 2 workshops. This is a Gond art that you see here, which I incorporated into my building. All this was done. It was a beautiful project with Madhya Pradesh Bamboo Mission also coming to the picture. All this thing was there, and then this is how the structure came in. Everything, I removed the scaffolds. And then I was moving at that time, so there were a lot of instructions which I gave to the site person, who was supposed to be a site person, but he was not a technical person. And if you see this thing properly, the support system, because the building touches the ground only at 7 places. There's a lot of design that was done where actually the whole load is supposed to be going to the foundation. So I told them to really change that and completely finish it properly, because we can't have any design out there. all these instructions I wrote and gave, and I came. That person and my client also did not take it very seriously. And after 1 month of de-shuttering, the building sat down. It didn't fall because it's like a basket, so it really did not fall, but it shut down because of all these grills kind of a thing at the bottom. And after that, she absolutely we went there with a structural engineer and we told, and we again rectified the whole thing, almost getting it to its former glory, whatever we could. But structure was still good. And then the COVID happened, and the owner absolutely did not have any further interest in trying to see that the building actually remains proper. And that is something which bamboo buildings suffer a lot, because even whatever, this was the building after de-shutting, you can see such a beautiful building with just intricate work of the light and things like the Chinese people who had come to see the building. It was decommissioned this year, and they brought it down instead of trying to put it up, because buildings with natural materials don't need too much of this thing, but they do need also care like other buildings. So people do maintain very high profile buildings, cleaning them and this thing. But when it comes to buildings with bamboo and mud, they think that it should be absolutely maintenance free. I don't know, there's some kind of perception that they have which really works not very well. And this is something which needs to change. These are some of the parallel things which I've been doing. That's the left top is from the Harvard University Club, where I'd gone for the SARET training out there. And these are workshops that we do, classes that we are taking for the bamboo application technology courses. These are from various colleges from across the world. We have done workshops, done around 150 lectures, guest lectures, and around 25 papers, and probably 70 workshops done across the world. From CGBMT, we have been doing testing, different kind of testings. We have been doing different kinds of masterclass. Also our simple talks. We took bamboo to Venice Biennale in 2016. We put up an exhibition for 6 months out there. And these were some of the comments that we got from there. And this is what prompted me to do this 2018, what we did, the big survey that we did, and it was presented at the World Bamboo Congress 2018 at Mexico. This is the photograph from the same Venice Biennale. And also a lot of publishing, because media is a very strong medium to promote something. And I was very fortunate that there were people who actually took it upon themselves as a task, and they have helped me. And I have publications approximately in more than 10 countries, in around 20 countries in 10 languages. Even in India, there's a lot of publication that has happened, and that has really done a lot of awareness. And I think we should be also thinking about media as a very big partner and ally in taking this bamboo forward. We have the same CGBMT in 2020, we started a School of Simple Living, and we have a bamboo school, which is a part of this particular school, running workshops and courses since 2004. This is coming shortly. We are working on it. Actually, it was supposed to be done before Diwali, but could not. Some last minute things is happening, and we'll be sharing you for pre-booking details very shortly. This is a complete construction guide, which will be in 2 volumes. For anybody, it's not for architects. It's not only for architects, not only for civil engineers. Anybody who is interested in working with bamboo, we are trying to make it not too simple, at the same time not too technical, so that these books, they will also become more like a reference book or textbooks for these undergrad students, where they can actually refer to how to build with bamboo. That's what and this was actually inspired by and told by Mr. Arun Bansal. From last 10 years, 11 years, he has been telling me, why don't you write and try to compile a book which will actually become a guide for people to take it forward. So thanks to sir's inspiration, this is what I'm trying to do. I'm hoping that very soon I will be able to bring this to you. And that's the conclusion, that we all are committed to work. Goal 17, strengthening the means of implementation and through partnerships for sustainable development. And I stand here to take it forward in the same spirit. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Neelam ma'am. As always, it's a pleasure to see all your work again and again. And with this, I open the floor for Q&A. If you have any questions, please raise your hand. Your questions will be answered in the priority of raising hands. Ladies and gentlemen, any questions? Thank you. Mr. Virendra? You're not audible, sir. Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I am audible. Yeah. Good afternoon, sir, and good afternoon, ma'am. Really, the presentation is excellent. So I am also want to know, madam, the kind of new training for non-bamboo professionals, because I am from pharmaceutical domain, but I'm passionate to know the constructional design and training, how to get trained ourselves to know the basic from cultivation and the usage in the day-to-day household and the building. So the training can be provided.
Yeah, we have actually two programs that we actually do from our CGBMT. One is that we are doing the 1 year PG course, that certificate course that we do, which is online, and this is for all kinds of professionals who are a graduate. That's at one level, and that you can enroll to, and that's what we have been running from 2011. So 10 years we have been doing, and most of them are in the sector even now. Another one which we are doing with the Dalbagh University is a modular course of 9 weeks, which we are just about to start again now, and that is for 9 weeks, and that's you get from the Dalbagh University, Agra, and that also we run. Other than that, we keep on doing workshops time and again. And so we also keep putting it in the social media. We also put on Bamboo Society of India, groups also we are putting in all the bamboo groups. So you can always join, there is no problem.
Yeah. And any yearly this kind of bamboo related exhibition be provided in Bangalore? Like I'm from Bangalore, anything will be there, like how the tentative, which quarter it will be arranged, like to know the more usage of bamboo accessories or like that, anything workshop, I mean to say exhibition will be conducted.
I think Bamboo Society of India, we are now trying to do a big expo, I think next year, that will be there. And I think from Bamboo Society of India, we are trying to provide a lot of information. We are still starting to compile, and I think we should be able to do it. The exhibition, I think due to COVID, the exhibitions are right now, I think last 2 years not happened, but otherwise they keep happening very regularly across the country. There's one more thing I just forgot to mention is that we have actually signed one MOU with Council of Architecture this year in January, and we are looking forward to doing a lot of courses and this kind of workshops and exhibitions across the country very soon. And we're just hoping, we are planning it out, and we definitely would be taking it forward from Bamboo Society of India.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks.
We have a couple of questions in the chat, Neela ma'am. One is, which natural element do you believe damages bamboo the most? Is it water, fire, wind?
Water.
Thank
And
you.
fire doesn't damage. I mean, there's something, there are lots of myths. Actually, bamboo buildings don't catch fire. That's a myth. And it is as good as any other material in the fire situation. But it depends on how do you use it. The whole thing is about how do you design with bamboo and how do you use bamboo. And that is something which is very important, where you are using it again. So there's a lot depends on those things. It's not a straight answer, but water is something which is directly, because bamboo is hygroscopic, it absorbs water. So in a building also, you will all buildings, whoever people live with, building with bamboo, they know this cracking sound which comes in bamboo because bamboo expands and contracts. I also get them all the time, but doesn't mean that bamboo is not usable or something like that. So you have to see that bamboo does not come directly in contact with ground, so that it doesn't take water from below. And then we have to have long eaves, which is like so that the the water doesn't lash onto bamboo or something like that. These are criteria which have to be taken care actually. So water is something which is very this thing, and then at the same time you have to have a particular kind of humidity for bamboo not to crack. So these are some design criteria which actually need to be really taken care when you are designing and working with bamboo. If you have a small water body somewhere around where bamboo building is there, the humidity is maintained and the bamboos don't crack. But if you don't have that, then bamboos crack very wide, and especially if it is a very high temperature area, like you have the Madhya Pradesh and other areas. If you don't protect your bamboo properly, they can actually crack very badly. So that is also has to be seen. And wind doesn't do anything to bamboo because bamboo is very flexible and it's very light, so it doesn't affect bamboo actually. But again, as I said, you have to have your systems in place to tie your joints are proper. They don't give way when bamboo buildings is swaying or something like that, if that's what you are asking.
Thank you, ma'am.
I have a
Mr. Venkatesh, please go ahead, sir, with your question.
Okay, thank you, sir. My question is with Chaudappa, sir, one of the farmer from Uttara Kannada district. He has joined Ganesh Hegde. He will asking with Dr. Chaudappa, sir. Sir, please provide.
Yes, sir. Dr. Chaudappa is with us, sir, still.
Ganesh Hegde, you can unmute and speak. Unmute ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ mic.
ಈಗ ನಾವು ಏನ್ ನೀವು ಕೇಳಿದ್ರಿ, ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು, ಅಚೀವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಸು ಬಹಳ ಖುಷಿ ಆಯ್ತು, ಎಲ್ಲದೂ ಇದೆ. ಆದ್ರೆ ರೈತರಾಗಿ ಬೆಳೆಯವರಾಗಿ ವುಡ್ ಸಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ಇದನ್ನ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕಾನ್ಸಂಟ್ರೇಷನ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದು ನನ್ನ ಅಭಿಪ್ರಾಯ.
ಹಲೋ, ಹೌದು ಹೆಗ್ಡೆ ಅವರೇ, ತಾವ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ 100% ಸತ್ಯ. ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರನೇ ನಾವು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟಿಂಗು ಬ್ಯಾಂಬೂ ಬೆಳೆಯೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಮೊದಲು ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಆಮೇಲೆ ಪ್ರೊಕ್ಯೂರ್ಮೆಂಟು, ಬೈಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಅರೇಂಜ್ಮೆಂಟು, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಪ್ರಾಸೆಸಿಂಗ್ 3 ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ.
ಸರಿ. ಈಗ ಆಸ್ ಎ ಫಾರ್ಮರ್ ನನ್ನ ರಿಕ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಏನು ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಬ್ಯಾಂಬೂ ಕಲ್ಟಿವೇಶನ್ ಗೆ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿಯಾದ ಸಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಕೊಡಬಹುದು, ಯಾವ ರೀತಿಯಾದ ಸಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಯಾವ ಏರಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಾಂಬು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಬೆಳಿಬಹುದು, ಇದಷ್ಟಕ್ಕೂ ಡೀಟೇಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಫಾರ್ಮರ್ಸಿ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಫಿಕ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಚಲೋದಲ್ವಾ?
ಒಂದು ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಮಾಡೋಣ ಸಿರಿಸಿದಲ್ಲಿ. ಈಗ ಆ ಲೇಕ್ ಸಿರಿಸಿದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು KVK ಇದೆ. ಆ KVK ಕೋಆರ್ಡಿನೇಟರ್ ವೆಂಕಟೇಶ್ ನನಗೆ ಫೋನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಆಯ್ತಾ, ಒಂದು ದಿವಸ ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಸಿರಿಸಿದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡೋಣ, ರೈತರೆಲ್ಲ ಸೇರಿಸಿ. ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಬೂ ಮಿಷನ್ ದಲ್ಲಿ ಬ್ಯಾಂಬೂ ಬೆಳೆಯಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಸ್ಕೋಪ್ ಇದೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾ. ಒಂದು ಗಿಡಕ್ಕೆ 250 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೋ.
ಅಲ್ಲಲ್ಲ, ಈಗ ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಈಗ ಪ್ರಧಾನಮಂತ್ರಿ ಅವರ ರೈತರಿಗೆ ಅಡಿಷನಲ್ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕು ಎಲ್ಲದೂ ಒಂದು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮನ ಅವರು ಹಾಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ ಪ್ರದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಬಾಂಬು ಬೆಳಿಬಹುದು, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನ್ ಸ್ಕೀಮ್ ಹಾಕ್ತಿರಿ, ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಬೆಳಿಬೇಕು, ಯಾವ ಏರಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಬೆಳಿಬಹುದು, ಯಾವ ರೀತಿಯಾದ ಬಾಂಬು ನಮಗೂ ಸೂಟೇಬಲ್, ಇಂಥದ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಡೀಟೇಲ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ನಾವು
ತಾವೇಳಿದ ನಿಜನೇ ಗೊತ್ತಾ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅವೆಲ್ಲ ಡೀಟೇಲ್ ಮಾತಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಈಗ ವೆಂಕಟೇಶ್ ಇದ್ದಲ್ಲ KVK ಕೋಆರ್ಡಿನೇಟರ್ ಸಿರಿಸಿ ಅವರು ನನಗೆ ಈಗ ಫೋನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ದಿವಸ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಸಿರಿಸಿದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡೋಣ, ರೈತರ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್. ನಾನು ಬರ್ತೀನಿ, ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅವತ್ತು ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೇಷನ್ ಕೊಡ್ಬೋದು. ಬರ್ತೀನಿ ನಾನು ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ.
Okay, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, I think we have
one question on the Awas Yojana. I would like to address that.
Please.
Yeah, the bamboo structures can be used definitely for Prime Minister Awas Yojana. There's one problem in there actually, the Prime Minister Yojana talks about pakka houses, and bamboo houses do not come into that category still. Mud and bamboo houses are not told to be coming into that category. And that is one hitch that is there probably. And I think that is something which needs to be addressed. But otherwise, as far as construction is concerned, as I have shown in my examples, they can be used. Definitely, it can be used, and it should be promoted. In my opinion, it should be widely promoted for the Prime Minister Awas Yojana.
Thank you, Neela ma'am. Could you enlighten a little bit on the building codes, bamboo being approved in the building codes, ma'am?
Yeah, actually, India was the first country to have a building code. That was in 2005. And I was also part of the committee at that time. I think, I mean, in the world, I would say this was the first country. But after that, not much work has been done. And properties of bamboo has been given. But the joints, properties of joints, there's not enough data on joints, testing of joints. And because of that, you can't really test the joint. So structural engineers are not able to really tell you, they are not able to design with that. So we need much more data on those things, and that is really required. Recently, there's one international code that has come with round bamboo by INBAR for the construction task force. And I'm also a member of that, but we did not contribute much to anything to that. It was done by 2-3 universities together, and they have come up with that. They had shared it. Similarly, we also need to do it for Indian bamboos, because incidentally, bamboo, in one country to another, the species qualities also actually they change depending on the climate. So we have to work on the Indian bamboos much more to have it in the code, one, and also in the schedule of rates in the government. Just to quickly talk about, there's something called bamboo flooring, which has been put in the bamboo code, which I think is absolutely exorbitant in price. And that is something which you can't really, it is I think 3 times or 5 times more than teak wood flooring. So now it is very difficult to even tell somebody to use that kind of a thing. So we have to really understand how to really work these things out. We have roofing materials, which is very excellent product, but not available for people. We have to get industries in that sector as well. And standardization of round bamboo, treated bamboo is also very important. If that is done, you go to a market and you say steel, so much of dia steel. Similarly, if we have this species bamboo, 3 years old, something like that, if that is available, more and more people will be able to use bamboo for this. So standardization is one. Second thing is with the codes, to work further on the codes. And the third thing is about schedule of rates. And of course, the policy about this kacha and pakka house. I think this is something, if it is taken care, bamboo can actually mainstream in the building material in the long way. And government, and with this, even for government buildings, if there are lots of government buildings there, schools are there, if they can be recommended for those, it will really go a long way. Because government is the biggest builder anywhere in the world. So if they can actually promote this in a big way in their this thing, that is something. And one more word which I would like to really put in here, which I sort of missed. Everyone is wanting to do something like Bali, and it is taken as a standard. I don't know how many people actually know the cost of building like Bali. It is more than something between 15 to 20,000 rupees a square feet. In India, as an architect, if you say 2,000 rupees, my building cost with bamboo, they will say, I will build with other material. Why build with bamboo? So the kind of promotion of bamboo that is being done as a fashionable material also has to have a kind of a limit, and it has to be, because we say on one hand in the beginning of my presentation, we have to house so many people in the world, and we have this other kind of materials which are very energy intensive. So we are using bamboo. And then what do we do next? We use it only for these kind of high profile, resorts and things like that. And the other sector for whom we said that we will be using bamboo is completely left out. And this is something which is, and that is why bamboo will never be able to be mainstream if this is the same approach that we keep on having. This has to really change.
True,
it has to really change. And as I said, in Prime Minister's Awas Yojana, in EWS housing, from many other Ashriya housings, it has to be really incorporated as a technically sound material to be used for any building. Only then it will move forward. Otherwise, it is difficult.
Very
Otherwise, very
true.
difficult.
Very true, ma'am. I think we all need a paradigm shift in thinking completely, and we have to work together. Various industries across, from construction to academia, we have to work together to raise this issue to the advocacies, to the administrators, and then we'll have to bring in a change. This is not going to be easy, but for sure we have to make an attempt there.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you once again for your time and your insights. And we have no more questions on the floor today. If Punati sir, is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, thanks. Thank you. Thank you. It's well organized. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bharti. Thank you. With this, we come to the end of our session today. I would like to once again thank our speakers, Dr. Chodappa sir and Architect Neelam Manjunath madam. Have a wonderful weekend, all of you. Thank you.
Thank you.